Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. So the other day I uploaded a video showing off a gun that I bought with my tax return money, and that was my new Ruger Vaquero, a new model Vaquero in .45 Colt. And I explained that I got it to complete my Cowboy Action set, because in Cowboy Action you need two of the same type of single action revolver. So I already had one Ruger Vaquero, and so I got a second Ruger Vaquero, and I figured that was a good use of my tax return money. And somebody commented on that video and said that I basically bought the most boring gun in the most boring caliber. And that really got me thinking, because in my opinion, I don't think that .45 Colt or a single action Army style revolver, I don't think either one of those are boring. In fact, I think they're really cool. Because if you think about it, the .45 Colt and the Colt .45 revolver, you know, the single action Army, Peacemaker, whatever you want to call it, those are two things that have really withstood the test of time. The .45 Colt has been around since 1873, so that's just over 150 years that this cartridge has been around, and guns that fire it, mainly being Colt single action Armies, of course, but obviously other guns have come and gone. But the round itself has been around for 151 years. And so that's kind of cool. And, you know, in my opinion, something that's boring is something that everybody has. And what are two calibers or two types of guns that everybody seems to have? 9mm and an AR-15 chambered in .223 or .556. Now, I have plenty of guns in both those calibers. I think I have 4 guns total chambered in .556, and I have somewhere around a dozen pistols all chambered in 9mm. So I do have my fair share of both of those calibers, but sometimes you just got to have something different. And I have guns in a lot of different calibers, and a lot of the reasons for me getting guns in those calibers are just because there's something different, and I like collecting different kind of guns in different calibers, and just enjoying the fact that they're different from one another. So obviously one of those calibers is .45 Colt, but I have other calibers like .41 Magnum and .32 ACP, .380 ACP, things that just aren't quite as popular as your main calibers like .223 or 9mm. So I just enjoy getting a lot of different types of guns and a lot of different types of calibers. But anyway, my response to his comment was, you know, I didn't get the most boring gun with the most boring caliber. I got the gun that completed my Cowboy Action set. There was a reason why I got the Ruger Vaquero in .45 Colt, because, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to actually compete in Cowboy Action, but, you know, I just like the guns that you use in Cowboy Action, and I just think it would be fun to at least have some friendly competitions among, you know, me and my fiance, my friends, maybe my niece and nephew whenever they get old enough, my sister, my brother-in-law. You know, it's just kind of it could just be kind of a fun family activity for us to do, because, I mean, with the exception of the shotgun, I guess, all of the guns that you use in Cowboy Action competition, you know, they're not exactly hard to shoot. They don't typically have a lot of recoil, and, you know, I could always get like a 20 gauge or even a 410 double barrel shotgun for anybody that's a little more recoil sensitive, because all I have is a 12 gauge double barrel. But like I said, you need to have 2 revolvers. And, I started out, my first .45 Colt gun, period, was this Taurus Gaucho. And this is a good gun, but they don't make these anymore. And, I bought it used at a pretty good price, and it's been a good gun. I guess I've only taken it out once, actually, but it was a pretty fun gun to shoot. And so this was the first one I got, but it's hard to find a mate for it. So I set out to find a Ruger Vaquero, because Ruger actually makes some of my favorite revolvers of all time, and I just love the Ruger Vaquero. So I got this one used, and it had some black plastic grips, and I took those off in exchange for these Spanish diamond grips. And I do have another set of these for the other one, I just haven't put them on yet, but I put these Spanish diamond grips on, and it is a much better looking revolver. And I took it out once and shot it, and it was also a really fun revolver to shoot. And then, once I had, actually I don't remember which order I got it in, but pretty close to the time I got that first Ruger Vaquero, I got this this Henry Big Boy lever action in .45 Colt, because I'm not exactly, I don't exactly have a lot of money, and cowboy action style rifles, specifically the Winchesters or the Winchester clones, like the 1873s, the 1866s, the ones that people really like and are probably the most popular, those are really expensive. And I guess you could always get a Rossi 92, but those aren't really that good a quality. And, what I would really like is a Marlin 1894 Cowboy, but Ruger hasn't come out with that yet. And, the old Marlins, they're just really hard to get unless you're getting a, and they're really expensive too, unless you're getting like one of the Remington made ones, which the quality on those isn't that great. So I opted to go for the Henry, and I went with the cheapest model of Henry. So, but it's still a fun gun. And, if I ever really got into cowboy action and actually like went to competitions and started putting a lot of rounds through one of these things, I probably would go for, probably would spend the extra money to get a better quality gun that probably would hold up to more abuse, maybe even be a little bit slicker. But for now, I just have the Henry. So, and I have the double barrel Stoger, which is not in this frame right now, but I do have one. And that's also a fun gun to shoot. So then the only gun that I had left was to get another Ruger Vaquero. And I figured, why not get a brand new one? It does have the wood grips, but they're not the greatest. The Spanish diamond grips would definitely make this gun look a lot better, in my opinion. And I just can't wait to get all 3 of my main cowboy guns out and just put some rounds through them, see how accurate I am, and see how fast I can be with them. And then, get other people in my family or even my friends to come out and just shoot around with me. Of course, I got to get a lot more ammo for it, but, it'll just be a really fun activity for us to do. And then maybe someday I'll actually get into cowboy action shooting, but we're probably a couple years away from that. And we just don't know what the future holds. So anyway, that was my whole reason for getting a .45 Colt revolver over something like a 9mm or 223 that I already have plenty of. So anyway, in my opinion, I don't think that the .45 Colt is a boring round. It's a round that has withstood the test of time. It's in some of my favorite guns, some of my favorite guns are chambered in it, like single action revolvers and lever action rifles. And, they even make like the Taurus Judge or the Smith & Wesson Governor that can shoot .45 Colt and .410. So that's another cool thing about .45 Colt, is it's the same diameter as a .410 shotgun shell, and they have certain guns that can shoot both. Not even just those 2 that I mentioned, but there's even a few others on top of that. So, that's just, really cool thing about the .45 Colt. Even in like, not so much in the revolvers, in these revolvers anyway, but like in a Ruger Blackhawk, or even some of like the newer Smith & Wessons, and then in the rifles, you know, the Henrys and the Marlins and the Winchesters, you can get some really hot 45 Colt rounds, and you can use them for hunting, use them for bear defense. I mean, you're talking, you know, taking the weak 45 Colt from the old cowboy days and bringing it up to 44 Magnum standards. And you can also get, like, I think 460 Smith & Wesson revolvers and 454 Casull revolvers, which are just basically like magnums of the 45 Colt, essentially. And you know, you can get those rounds, or those revolvers, and shoot the 45 Colt in those revolvers, or even, like, I don't even know if they have lever actions in those calibers. They might, and you know, some oddball company might make a 454 Casull lever action, and you can obviously shoot 45 Colt in those for a cheaper, lighter round for more fun, but then have like the bigger 454 Casull, or I don't know if anybody makes like a 460 lever action, but if they did, you probably could still use the 45 Colt in that as well, and just, you know, have like a plinking round for your 460 or your 454 Casull. So anyway, those are just a few things about the 45 Colt that I really like, and just reasons why I don't think that it's boring. Like I said, 9mm 223, while those are good rounds, there's a lot of guns out there, but everybody's got them, and it's not exciting when you just constantly get guns that everybody else has. It's nice to have something different, which is why I have certain guns in certain calibers that I own them in. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, before I go, I just thought I'd remind everybody that I do have a second channel called Redneck Off the Range. Over there, I post most of my non-gun related content, so whether it's a video on my new tractor, my power tools, my projects that I'm working on, maybe wild game recipes, or just a random vlog, I post all of this kind of content over on my secondary channel. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out, Redneck Off the Range. But that's all for this video, so subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.